AMD Readies Ryzen 9 5900 12-core and Ryzen 7 5800 8-core Zen 3-feet desktops CPUs for OEMs, will come in 65W flavors. AMD is preparing two brand new Ryzen 5000 desktop CPUs for the OEM segment based on the Zen 3 architecture, the Ryzen 9 5900 and the Ryzen 7 5800. Both of these chips will be targeted towards OEMs who will feature them within their brand new pre-built desktops but will not be separately sold. AMD preps Ryzen 9 5900 12-core and Ryzen 7 5800 8-core Zen 3-feet desktop CPUs, 65W chips targeted at OEMs, cheaper CPUs but not for retail. The AMD Ryzen 5000 desktop CPU is already packed in the $300 US plus category, but OEMs will soon be receiving two brand new parts, the Ryzen 9 5900 and the Ryzen 7 5800. The CPUs will offer the same core configurations as their X series brethren, but the main difference comes in the clocks and TDP figures. Related story: Hassan Mujtaba AMD Ryzen 7000 CPU undervolting can leave a lot of frequency in TDP headroom, also drops temps significantly as revealed by Patrick Scher and Momomo_US. Both chips will come with a 65W TDP, which is much lower than the standard 105W TDP you get with the X series variants. The clocks will definitely be a tad bit lower for the 65W TDP parts, but you will expect performance within 90 to 95% of the X series SKUs. Unlike Intel, AMD tends to retain overclocking support for their Ryzen CPUs across the board, and we can expect the same from the upcoming chips. Coming to specifications, the AMD Ryzen 9 5900 will carry the 100.00062 OP encode. It will feature 12 cores, 24 threads, 64 MB of L3 cache, and 2 MB of L2 cache. The AMD Ryzen 7 5800 will feature the 100.00064 and consist of 8 cores, 16 threads, 32 MB of L3 cache, and 4 MB of L2 cache. The clock speeds for both chips are unknown at the moment, but as stated, they will end up slightly slower than the Ryzen 9 5900X and the Ryzen 7 5800X. Both chips will also come at a slightly lower price point. The AMD Ryzen 9 5900 may feature a price of around $499 US, while the Ryzen 7 5800 could end up at $399 US. This is just mere speculation, but we can expect these parts to be listed by OEMs as part of their pre-built desktop PC configs in the coming weeks. AMD Ryzen 5000 series and Ryzen 4000 CPU lineup 2022 CPU NAMERCHITECTURECORES THREADSBASECLOCKBOOSTCLOCKCACHE L2 plus L3 PCIe lanes, Gen 4 CPU plus PCH, TDP/PRICE, launch MSRP, AMD Ryzen 9 5950 by 7 nm Zen 3. Vermeer 16 323.4 GHz 4.9 GHz 72 MB 24 plus 16105W $799 US AMD Ryzen 9 5900 by 7 nm Zen 3, Vermeer 12 243.7 GHz 4.8 GHz 70 MB 24 plus 16105W $549 US AMD Ryzen 9 59007 nm Zen 3, Vermeer 12 243.0 GHz 4.7 GHz 64 MB 24 plus 1665W $499 US AMD Ryzen 7 5800 X3D 7 nm Zen 3D, Warhol 8 163.4 GHz 4.5 GHz 64 MB plus 32 MB 24 plus 16105W $449 US AMD Ryzen 7 5800 by 7 nm Zen 3, Vermeer 8 163.8 GHz 4.7 GHz 36 MB 24 plus 16105W $449 US AMD Ryzen 7 58007 nm Zen 3, Vermeer 8 163.4 GHz 4.6 GHz 32 MB 24 plus 1665W $399 US AMD Ryzen 7 5700 by 7 nm Zen 3, Vermeer 8 163.4 GHz 4.6 GHz 36 MB 24 plus 1665W $299 US AMD Ryzen 7 57007 nm Zen 3, Cezanne 8/16 TBD 20 MB 20, General 3, plus 1665 WTBD AMD Ryzen 5 5600 by 7 nm Zen 3, Vermeer 6 123.7 GHz 4.6 GHz 35 MB 24 plus 1665W $299 US AMD Ryzen 5 56007 nm Zen 3, Vermeer 6 123.5 GHz 4.4 GHz 35 MB 24 plus 1665W $199 US AMD Ryzen 5 55007 nm Zen 3, Cezanne 6 123.6 GHz 4.2 GHz 19 MB 20, General 3, plus 1665W $159 US AMD Ryzen 3 51007 nm Zen 3, Cez-Anne 4/8 TBD 20, General 3, plus 1665W TBD AMD Ryzen 7 47007 nm Zen 2, Renoir by 8 163.6 GHz 4.4 GHz 20 MB 20, General 3, plus 1665 WTBD AMD Ryzen 5 4600 G7 nm Zen 2, Renoir 6/12 TBD 11 MB 20, General 3, plus 1665W $154 US AMD Ryzen 5 45007 nm Zen 2, Renoir by 6 123.6 GHz 4.1 GHz 11 MB 20, General 3, plus 1665W $129 US AMD Ryzen 3 41007 nm Zen 2, Renoir by 483.8 GHz 4.0 GHz 6 MB 20, Gen 3, plus $1665 $99 US. AMD also Readies Ryzen 7 5700G and Ryzen 5 5600G, Cezanne, desktop APUs for AM4 platform. Patrick also reveals that AMD could already have their next-generation Cezanne parts ready for shipping to their OEM partners. The two chips including the Ryzen 7 5700G and the Ryzen 5 5600G. The Ryzen 7 5700G is definitely going to be an 8-core and 16-thread chip based on the Zen 3-core architecture and will carry 16 MB of L3 cache and clock speeds around 4.5 GHz. The CPU will also end up with a 65 WTDP, which is where the AM4 APUs usually land. The Ryzen 5 5600G would be featuring 6 cores, 12 threads, and will retain the 16 MB L3 cache since it will still be utilizing a singular Zen 3 CCD unit. Both CPUs will be compatible with existing and last general 500 and 400th series motherboards. We will also get to see a proper retail introduction for desktop APUs this time around, unlike the Pro and OEM-only Renoir Ryzen 4000G desktop APUs. We expect more information on these APUs to come in the first half of 2021.